In February 1957, a cardboard box was found in the woods outside Philadelphia. Inside was the body of a young child. No name, no missing person report, no clear explanation. For more than 6 decades, this case haunted investigators, journalists, and the public. He became known as the boy in the box. In 2022, science finally gave him back his name. But the most important question remains unanswered. Who was responsible? And why was justice never served? The box was found in a wooded area of Fox Chase, a neighborhood in northeast Philadelphia. It was a simple bassinet box, the kind commonly sold in department stores at the time. Inside, investigators discovered the body of a young boy, estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old. There were no identification documents with him. The few items of clothing found offered no traceable clues. And, perhaps most disturbingly, no witnesses came forward. From the very first day, authorities faced a chilling reality. No one had reported this child missing. The location where he was found was remote, but it was close enough to roads that it was clear the body had been placed there intentionally. From the very beginning, the case raised far more questions than answers, setting the stage for one of America's most enduring mysteries. The Philadelphia police launched a massive investigation. Posters featuring the boy's face were distributed nationwide. His image appeared in newspapers from coast to coast. Thousands of tips poured into the police department, but none of them led to a confirmed identity. Authorities checked hospitals, orphanages, and schools, searching for any record of a child who had suddenly vanished. Birth records were meticulously examined. Lists of missing children were reviewed again and again. Nothing matched. The public, captivated and horrified by the story, began referring to the child simply as the boy in the box. Over time, the case became one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in American history, not because of what was known, but because of everything that was missing. It was as if this child had never existed until the moment he was found. The investigation was conducted in an era long before the tools we take for granted today. This was a time before DNA testing, before modern forensic databases, and before computerized records. The standards for handling evidence in the 1950s were very different. Some physical evidence from the scene was inevitably lost over the years. Some official records were incomplete, and other materials that might have been crucial for future testing were never properly preserved. Several suspects were interviewed over the decades. Different leads were pursued, but none of them ever led to an arrest or a charge. As the years turned into decades, the trail went cold. Leads dried up. Detectives who had dedicated years to the case retired. Witnesses who might have held a key piece of information passed away. The case slowly became a symbol of how time itself can work against justice, burying secrets deeper with each passing year. Over the years, investigators and amateur sleuths considered multiple theories, but it's important to state clearly that none of them were ever proven. Some believed the child might have lived with a family that existed outside of traditional systems, making him invisible to official records like schools or doctors' offices. This could explain why no birth certificate or school records were ever found. Others suggested family-related explanations, pointing to potential abuse or concealment within the home, but no confirmation was ever found. No theory was ever officially confirmed. No suspect was ever charged with a crime. What made this case so profoundly disturbing was not just the crime itself, but the complete absence of a clear narrative. The boy seemed to exist only in that one tragic moment he was discovered. Despite the decades of silence and the lack of progress, the case of the boy in the box never truly disappeared. Journalists revisited the story on major anniversaries. New generations of cold case detectives reopened the files, hoping a fresh set of eyes might see something that had been missed. Advocates for the missing and unidentified pushed for new forensic testing as technology continued to advance. The boy became known as America's unknown child, a name that captured both the nation's sympathy and its frustration. And eventually, after more than half a century, science finally began to catch up with the mystery. In the early 2000s, what little evidence had been preserved from the original investigation was re-examined, using modern forensic methods. The boy's remains were exhumed to extract a DNA sample. After years of work trying to build a profile, investigators finally turned to genetic genealogy. This is a powerful technique that uses DNA databases to find relatives of an unknown person, and it had already been used to solve several other high-profile cold cases. Then, in December 2022, 65 years after the boy was first discovered, authorities in Philadelphia made a historic announcement. The boy in the box had been identified. His name was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. For the first time in over 6 decades, the child had an identity. But this long-awaited announcement came with a painful and frustrating truth. While the victim was finally identified, the investigation into who was responsible for his death remained unresolved. Authorities released only limited details about Joseph's family and background, citing privacy and the ongoing nature of the case. Many questions were left unanswered. Who was responsible for his death? Why was he never reported missing by his family? And who placed him in that box in the woods? Officials acknowledged that the sheer passage of time had erased many possible answers. The people who held the secrets to this case were likely long gone. Identifying Joseph solved one of the case's central mysteries, but it also exposed how much crucial information had been lost to time, perhaps forever. The boy in the box case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about justice. How many other cases are lost to time, with evidence that has degraded, and witnesses who are no longer with us? How many other victims never receive justice, their identities remaining unknown? And how much does solving a crime depend on technology that simply didn't exist when it occurred? Joseph Augustus Zarelli finally has his name back. He is no longer just a symbol of an unsolved mystery, but his story, and the story of his final days, remains heartbreakingly incomplete. Some mysteries are solved by science, others are buried by time. This is Criminal Verse, where every crime hides a story. Thanks for watching, and if you found this case as compelling as we did, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into true crime history.